Welcome back. Chris Wallace here, advising a man with another ATM news. We're going to talk about resetting the nervous system. Now, I'll post more videos on this because I've had to do a lot of work to retrain my nervous system over the years. So to that end, we'll call this one Nervous System Reset. The old ways still work. In my view, the problem with the nervous system is once it learns to tolerate wide fluctuations in activations in the years before puberty, in the first 14 years of life, meaning it habituates to protection mode more than connection mode, I suspect that it then becomes a kind of a default state that the body seeks to return to over and over again. That's my theory. If we're fortunate enough to realize this and we want to address the issue, it requires retraining to get past, and that varies from person to person. However, just as your integrated nervous system was trained by experience, it means it can be retrained with new experiences and repetition. Men often ask me how I learned to regulate my nervous system, and I can tell you the answer is not glamorous, and I'm still doing it. And no offense to anyone, but it's not borrowed from the latest neuroscientific inquiry. Rather, it was born out of preference and significant necessity. Back in the 1980s, I struggled with an insomnia that had followed me from just before puberty onwards. So in the late 60s, I was an insomniac. In those early days, I learned to read myself to sleep. Only sometimes I'd read books all night and I'd watch the sun come up. I remember I had rigged up a string up the wall by my pillow, which went to a bent nail in the open ceiling joist above me, and then went across to the other side of the room to another bent nail, and then down the wall to another bent nail just below the light switch, and then back up to the switch itself. With a good yank, I could pull on that string and turn off the light, go right to sleep when the feeling came over me. If I didn't do that and it didn't work, and it slipped off the switch, and I had to get up to flip the switch myself, the movement increased my heart rate, put my blood pressure up a little bit, and then insomnia was likely to return. So I had an overactive nervous system. I was young, I was stressed, and I was carrying more weight internally than my life had prepared me for. That's the truth of it. Sleep felt like a hostile negotiation. I'd lie awake with my mind racing and my body buzzing. 2 decades later, as an adult, after distracting myself with various counterproductive chemical addictions, I found Benson's relaxation response on a VHS. I know that dates me. But anyways, that got me started. I learned to drop myself into calm and sleep using breath, visualizations, and sensory focus. I didn't know the biology behind it at the time. I only knew that it worked. It gave me a tool to quiet the system that refused to shut off. It took me maybe 3 months of nightly practice to get reliable results. While curing my insomnia with self-hypnosis at night, I also tried short meditations to regulate my nervous system during the day. Though I never really took to the practice, and I found even short meditations challenging. Over the years, I adapted doing breath resets throughout the day, interspersed with short time-out style mental focused meditations. After all, everybody knows what it means to take a knee and recover for a moment. I did a mental version of this. 10 years later, life made things harder. I'd put off getting a wisdom tooth taken out, and unbeknownst to me, an infection struck my trigeminal nerve. Half of my face became paralyzed. At the time, the doc said it was Bell's palsy, fairly common. Months went by where my left eye would not close, so I would tape it shut at night, and then I'd use drops daytime so it wouldn't dry out. Paralysis came back every few years. My whole face would drop on that side. Then a dentist pointed out what had happened. It was too late. There was permanent damage. And even now, that eye blinks less often, and I have to help it shut at night. I joked that I must have been too pretty before, and that the paralysis gave my face character, shall we call it. The last time my face dropped completely was about 16 years ago. Mrs. doesn't seem to mind. Maybe she feels safer snuggling up to a man who sleeps with one eye open. As my condition took hold and I adapted, About a minute after shutting my eyes, my left eye would slowly open on its own, whether I wanted it to or not. So the deep breaths and timeouts fit the new circumstances fairly well. I called these body resets for short. Dropping into calm quickly was disciplined practice. A big nasal inhale, maxing it out to make it deep, then a long, slow, full exhale by mouth. Then I'd repeat. The goal was simple: reset the system, reset the mind, reset the body, all in 60 seconds. I can already feel that. Decades before Andrew Huberman, who I've been a long-time subscriber, called it the physiological sigh, I was doing them because I preferred it. A few years ago, I became a fan of Positive Intelligence and their coach number 13 in their first training cohort, in part because Shirzad Chamine uses 1 and 2 minute meditations. That made me a fan. There's something about taking charge of our physiology and being able to relax it at will that is empowering and satisfying at the same time. Even today, I keep a phone alarm set to every 90 minutes the sucker goes off. And when it goes off, I do 3 of these breath resets. To this, I often add a minute where I could just close my eyes and shift my awareness. I listen for the furthest sound away that I can hear, often a truck on the distant highway not too far from me. And then I listen for the closest sound that I can hear. Usually it's my laptop fan or the refrigerator humming. This immediately pulls my nervous system into the present moment and lowers any internal noise that I may have built up. I teach the same methods to the men I work with, and to be sure, there are plenty more, but the body reset is the best go-to technique that I use. Through breath, the body resets, displaces anxiety, and quickly replaces it with calm. Focused attention uses incompatible behavior to control unbridled rumination. Both put me back in charge. That breathing and body resets are now tied to data and research is super useful because people recognize what I mean more easily. You got to love it when science figures out what guys have already figured out through necessity or discipline and time. Your nervous system doesn't care about branding. It cares about inputs. It cares about patterns. It cares about repetition. Many men today live with a nervous system that rarely shuts off. Phones, pressures, screens, deadlines. Their bodies run like they're being chased even when they're sitting on the couch. This is why it's a good idea to build resets into your day. If you wait until you feel overwhelmed, you prolong your suffering. No good to anybody that way. These small resets keep you stable, present, and more capable of leading your life. Try this today. Set your phone timer to go off every 90 minutes or so, maybe sooner. Do 3 body resets as per the above or variations thereof. Then close your eyes and listen for the furthest sound away and then the nearest sound. You do that a few times per day and you'll feel a shift as you move from protection mode into connection mode, and your body will recognize it. Your mind will suddenly clear. Your future self will thank you as your system now is a good baseline again. Don't do these half-assed. After 3 body resets, I can feel it all over. I felt that one that we just did. I'm going to do some more as soon as I finish this. I sometimes joke that it's better than smoking a joint. Truth is, it's nothing like smoking dope at all, and it's far and away much better. The old ways still work. They always did. Make them a permanent daily practice. In the meantime, stay powerful, true, and free.